Good morning, welcome to TERRA at Home. We're back with Scott from Scott's Canada, and last time we were here we were talking about prep for late summer going into fall and getting your lawn ready, and the big message that we started with was, again, just preventative. So instead of having problems and trying to solve them, just try to avoid problems, right?
Yeah, correct, exactly. And it's really about feeding and seeding and the times you do those throughout the season, and just, very simple routine steps 3 or 4 times a year, and that will start you on a path towards a great lawn.
Right, and that's the thing. We were talking before about, you look at your neighbor's lawn and you're like, how do they do that? And it's not necessarily a quick fix, but if you stay on top of it, each year your lawn will get better and better.
Yes.
Right, so it's not just one season, the winter ruins everything and you start from scratch again. That's not the case. So right now we are starting to talk about fall and winter, and unfortunately, but that's the way it's what we have to talk about. It's inevitable, and we had a rough winter last year. So it's about preparing your lawn as we go towards that what seems like a very, very long period of time, that winter. So feeding.
So feeding right now, as we get to the latter part of August, early part of September, it's a great time to do one more of that all-purpose feeding for your lawn. So your lawn's coming out of the summer, maybe a stressful, a lot of heat, drought, etc., stressful time. So as the weather conditions are more conducive to the grass growing, it will start to take up nutrients and kind of working hard to grow and thicken up.
Yeah, you do notice actually, so August is so intense sometimes with the heat, right? And then you start to get into September, which can be still very hot, but then you start to notice even your plant life, your flowers, everything starts to slowly, as the air cools a bit, starts to come back. And I always find just at the end of the season is when everything looks awesome, right?
Yes, so that's a perfect time to feed your lawn. So provide it with the nutrients to allow it to repair, recover, and really flourish during that early part of the fall. So then there's actually a second time to feed in the fall with a specific fall formulated lawn food, like the Turf Builder Fall Lawn Food. So what this is going to do, we're talking, mid to latter part of October. At this time, the grass is still growing and it's still, going through its photosynthesis process. And what the food allows it to do is do that process efficiently and start to store up the sugars and the carbohydrates that it's going to need, both in terms of making it survive the winter, so strong cells, very thick. And then in the spring, it's also going to come back to, to green and to life a lot earlier and quicker in the spring. So you're going to have the best lawn on the block in the spring if you did that fall feeding. See, that's key. And so this is really, as you're saying, this is one of, if you had to choose any, this is a really important time. This is the most important. If you only did one, which I don't encourage, the fall feeding is the best one to do. Because, especially coming in, again, out of that tough winter, it was hard on lawns, and lawns really kind of just sat there, and you're like, wow. So if you could have a little bit of an edge by doing this. That's right. And we've talked before, people get very excited in the spring and they do a lot of the right steps, and then they forget to do anything else for the rest of the year. So we're really just talking about one more simple step, which is that fall feeding, that late fall feeding. So what are the steps then? And talking about cutting your lawn, there's always this controversy of how long should my lawn be, especially going into the winter. You were saying it shouldn't be too long. Right. Yeah, in general, so throughout the season, I advocate mowing your lawn quite high, higher than most people do actually. So I would say the average lawn owner probably, they cut it short to about 2 inches, and then they hope they don't have to cut it, for another week or two maybe. It's efficiency, and it also looks kind of nice sometimes when it's really like you're trying to be like a golf course or something. More like a golf course, So the reality not ideal. That short cutting promotes shorter roots. And shorter roots means they can't reach the deeper reserves of water in the soil. So you're actually promoting, the lawn to turn dry and dry out more quickly and yellow. So, generally 3 to 3.5 inches is terrific. And as you approach the winter, what you especially don't want to do is let it grow long, so into that 4-inch range, because then the grass is going to fold over and create conditions for snow mold and other disease, potential for disease. So that's really the only time of the year I would say you could keep it in the 3 to 2.5 range, sort of lower. But definitely don't let it grow long, and definitely don't grow short.
When does your lawn in our area actually start to go dormant, where it basically stops growing? So how do we know how to time this?
Yeah, again, obviously it depends on the type of season we're going to have.
Sure, it does, right.
Yeah, but really, towards the end of October and early November.
Okay,
yeah.
So this is the time to be doing this. So, so cut your lawn, at an ideal height, as you're saying, about 3.5 inches.
Yes.
And then fertilize.
Yes.
Okay.
So the other important step in fall is cleanup.
Right.
So what we don't want to do is leave, leaves, debris, any other things on the lawn, especially during, that month of October, because that's when, again, the lawn needs that sunlight to create the photosynthesis process, again, to create food and make it strong and healthy. So anything that's on top of the grass that is shielding it from the sunlight, is going to reduce that effect.
Okay.
So
that's the whole raking your leaves thing, right?
Raking and mulching. So
yes.
there's really two ways. So give it a thorough raking, keep all of the leaves, twigs, debris, etc. Keep all those off the lawn, or you can actually mow all of those things,
yes.
mulch them up into tiny pieces, and that will return nutrients back to the soil. So
That's
you don't actually have to rake them all and take them away.
Yes.
As long as you, systematically mow them up into tiny pieces.
Yes, make sure it's, but and again, that if some people might prefer that, it's a little bit of an easier method, especially if you have very large trees and you're losing a lot of leaves, and
exactly.
it can become quite a tedious process. But
yes.
again, as you say, you don't want that blanket of debris, because it is going to be quite suffocating to your lawn.
It really will prevent the lawn from doing the things it needs to do to prepare for winter, yes.
Okay, so in terms of hydration at this point too, how much focus do you need to be? Again, I understand that, again, it's all about conditions in the season.
Yeah, generally the great thing about fall is there is a lot more moisture in the air,
yes.
so have a look at the weather forecast. If it's going to be a dry week, you may want to get some water on there, but in general, fall, enough rainfall, enough moisture in the air, it's a pretty good time of year for grass. Okay,
so really, again, make sure you get the fall feed, because it is going to provide what it needs for winter and for spring.
Yes, critical feeding.
Okay, so very good. All right, so watch the length of your grass, and again, as much as we don't want to talk about this, we do need to focus on it. As you said, you're doing this now, it's going to be great for you in the spring, and then once spring comes and you get back out there, you're going to notice
yes.
less weeds, and again, if you're taking these measures that we've been talking about for the last couple segments,
yes.
you're going to really start to see a better grass environment,
right.
and less maintenance maybe perhaps in the future, right?
Absolutely. If you feed 3 to 4 times a year, if you apply grass seed, once a year, either in the spring or the fall, it's going to be vibrant, thick, and it's going to prevent so many of those problems that in the end create a lot more work and a lot more frustration.
And that's key, just prevent the problems.
Yes.
Always great having you on the show. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank
and pick up your Scott's material at TERRA. You can get it and get yourself going and have a good spring next year. We'll be back with more TERRA at Home. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
Heritage perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning. Welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm here with Carmen Sosacholi from, is that how I said that?
Perfect.
We're from Good Shepherd Centers here in Hamilton, and you are the director of both the Mary Street location and this location here on Cannon Street. And the Venture Center. So we're here now. There's a bit of a timeline here because we're shooting a little bit in advance. At this point, as you're watching it, as this is airing, this facility will be completely done. We're almost done. We're getting there right now. Tell me about what's happening here right now. Maybe what we should do first is talk about Good Shepherd and what we've always done in the past for the city and how we got to this point. Let's do that.
That sounds like a plan.
Okay.
So we've been in the business of helping individuals who are disadvantaged in our community. This particular area, we've had the food bank, the clothing program, the men's shelter, which is again on Mary Street. And we saw this as an opportunity to perhaps, as we were talking before, instead of just giving the fish, to helping people learn how to fish.
And we always know that's the better way, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So we are planning some exciting things here. Of course, they will be a work in progress.
Yes.
As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. We bought this property about a year ago, and as being a nonprofit, of course, you always have to tread lightly because of the funding. So what we're hoping to do here is to move our food bank, and also trying to get away from that word.
Right. So you're taking food bank and taking it to a whole other level.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to be operating a grocery store here. We use the word mini mart. I know it's proprietary. So if we don't use mini mart, maybe we'll use econo mart.
Sure.
So we will have groceries here. We will have clothing. It'll be like you go to a mini Fortino's.
Right, and that's the thing, because we're walking into businesses nowadays that try to be kind of an all-in-one, one-stop shop, right? And that's basically what it'll be for people. So people will be able to come in, and they'll have eventually almost a card that will identify who they are. And how do they qualify for this to be able to come in and shop at this facility?
So we have a simple eligibility test. We use the LICO numbers. The LICO numbers, for example, for one individual is anyone who is making less than 21,000, I believe. So the individual comes in, they show us proof of income, proof of how many people are in the household, because we have to collect those demographics.
Right, whether you're just a single dwelling or you have a family of 6.
Absolutely, because that will get you a lot more groceries.
Sure, yeah.
So once we've done that, the individual gets issued a membership card, and the eligibility is good for a year, and we review it a year later.
Amazing.
That makes the individual aware that we have food, clothing, as well as our Christmas hamper program. Because a lot of people don't know that we actually have a hamper program, which of course will be run out of this location.
Very good, and that's an amazing thing.
Yes, we had a great time last year. The clients were just absolutely amazed. One of the other things that this particular location does for us, Leslie, is it's accessible for the handicapped. Our current old warehouse is not acceptable or accessible for those that are in wheelchairs or in the scooters or have some other mobility problems. So they'll be able to come in here and they'll be able to shop on their own.
This is perfect. This is like right off the street, in here.
We still have to do the little ramp to get them in.
Of course.
But we will make sure that they have accessibility to the place, and they will be able to take what they want versus what we think they should have.
Right, and that's the difference between food bank versus
a grocery program.
So we were talking about qualifying. Once you've qualified, you're saying you're color coding. So if you are just a single male living on your own, there'll be a certain color code, and that's how you will quote code the building.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that will give the individual the amount of food and clothing that they can take.
Versus this, how many cans versus produce.
Exactly.
Isn't that amazing?
We are going to have in the very back, we're going to have a bit of a market, just like you see when you go into the grocery store, and they'll be able to get their own fresh produce, and we'll have the bags and all the same stuff like you go into the regular store.
This is going to be interesting. So a lot of times with food banks, we see where there's a high and a low, and there's dips. And how are you going to make sure that you consistently can provide food in a shopping experience like that, and having a market type environment from your perspective as Good Shepherd?
Actually, talking about lows, we're going through a low right now.
That's, we're saying that the summer is a dip, right?
This summer, as we've put out our posters, hunger doesn't take a vacation. And we're going through that right now. The months of July and August are very lean for food banks. Individuals go on vacation. who are our donors.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the people that we serve don't go on vacation.
Yes.
The kids are out of school, those programs are not available. It puts an additional stress on the household.
I can imagine. And it's not just like you need, and the thing is, a lot of times people think about it during the holidays. Maybe it's Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Let's donate, which is awesome.
Yes.
But as you say, these people are just living their lives 365 days a year.
Yeah.
It doesn't, as you say, it does not go on vacation.
Exactly.
It's the perfect way to quote it.
So the city of Hamilton steps up to the plate and has done for the past number of years. And distributes about $250,000 to the food banks, and we get our share, and we go to the big suppliers and get some really good deals, and restock the shelves to take us well into September.
Very good.
Otherwise, it would really be lean pickings.
I can imagine, and that's why we talk about the fact that over the years, the value of money as well, because you have buying power when you're going to these facilities. So by someone donating money as well to Good Shepherd, you can really take it and buy a lot of food that you can put here to provide for these people.
Exactly.
Right?
We also have some very, very good relationships with some corporate donors, farmers in the area that will give us all sorts of fresh produce. Sometimes we get so much fresh produce of one kind. For example, tomatoes or potatoes, we actually share them with the other food banks.
Isn't that great?
And they do that as well when
right, because you don't want waste.
No,
right?
absolutely
there
not.
No waste.
Absolutely not. No. So the other thing we're hoping to do here is that we're hoping to have other programs come in, like a public health nurse, and an Ontario Works worker, because half of our clients are in Ontario Works. And sometimes they have questions, or perhaps they want to make sure that they're getting the right amount. And if we can have that worker here once a week or so, then it becomes really a one place,
as you're saying,
shopping.
This is kind of your hub. So for people that again that just need that little extra help, this is going to be the place, and then they can get all of what's needed to provide them just to have, to live a nice normal life. And again, as you're saying, teaching them to fish. So you'll have those services eventually. We're trying to get people back out into our community and working in our community, so maybe they don't even have to come here again.
Well, that would be great. In that line, we're hoping to, in the fall, to start a bit of a pre-employment training program that would lead individuals to perhaps full-time employment.
Awesome.
Stocking shelves in here.
Great idea.
Sorting things in the cash, operating a cashier or as a cashier. Those are all things that are saleable skills in the community.
Well, Carmen, it's so great to talk to you about this today. This is a really great opportunity and a really great thing for our city. We're going to come back later on in the future, and we're going to catch up and see what this looks like as it's all happening.
Thank you.
Okay?
We look forward to that.
Very good work. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
That's it for now. We'll have more TERRA. When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
The Hamilton Spectator, at work, at home, or on the go. Read us online, in print, or download us to your e-reader. Get the Hamilton Spectator any way you want it.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegro restaurant in Hamilton, and we are using eggplants today. Little guys that I've never seen before. I don't know why I've never seen these ones before, but I was just more familiar with these.
Yeah, these are the Indian eggplants.
Okay.
And those they're calling Italian eggplants, but they're not the Sicilian ones, which are the round ones, a little bit lighter in color. So I call them a baby eggplant. They're just picked early.
Oh, I see. Okay, so what are we making?
We're doing the eggplant parmesan, but we're doing it a little bit differently. Everybody's familiar with it, and everyone has their own way of doing it. This is my own little twist. So we're going to do it a couple different ways here.
Okay.
So
he's running away.
One took off. One didn't want to know part of this.
He's like, get me out of here.
So this one here, what we're doing is we're taking the tops off and the bottoms. Okay. The reason why I'm taking the bottom off so that when I put it on the plate, this is going to sit up.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Otherwise, it won't sit up for us. So.
Okay.
So we're going to take those off. And what we're going to do with this is this one. Actually, I'm going to ask you to do this, Leslie. If you don't mind just taking a little bit out of the middle here, we're going to stuff this one. And then we're going to put the cap back on this. Okay. And while you're doing these three, if you don't mind, I'm going to take these eggplants over here. Now this one, I'm going to cut the top off, and then I can use my mandolin. You can use a knife if you cut it nice and thin. We're going to shave this. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to roll this one.
Okay. Is that deep enough, by the way?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Who knew I'd ever be your sous chef? Not fully qualified, I'm going to tell you that right now.
I'm sure you would make a better sous chef than I would a cheerleader, so how's that?
There we go. Trade off.
There we go.
Those mandolins come in handy, don't they?
They do. A very useful tool. So, what we're going to do with this one here, I'm going to lay them all out. And we're going to salt. And we're going to pepper these.
Okay.
Then I'm going to take some of our mozzarella cheese. And we're going to put the mozzarella in the middle.
This is a total twist. I like this.
Yeah, this is completely different than what this could be used as an hors d'oeuvre style.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to gently roll this. Now, it wants to break.
Right.
Okay. So you can't roll it too tight. So if there's a gap in the middle like there was on this one, just put a little bit more cheese. No one ever going to complain about cheese.
No.
Then I'm going to take a
It's usually
toothpick.
a fan favorite.
And I'm going to put a toothpick through this.
Okay.
Okay?
Neat.
So we're going to do it for all of these.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to do our normal breading. We're going to put we have an egg wash here, flour and breadcrumb. And we're going to bread these ones.
Wow.
These ones here, if you'd like, you can put some mozzarella cheese into the middle of those. So roll this one. And that one, we're going to put the caps back on it.
Okay. So that's all you're putting inside is just a little bit of cheese?
We're going to salt and pepper it, and then we'll...
All right, I'm going to stuff more in there then.
Yeah, put lots of cheese. The more the merrier.
I'm thinking.
All right. I got a little pan here with a little bit of oil in it.
Okay. So now it's like a puzzle trying to find which one belongs to who. Because it doesn't really matter, does it? As long as
No,
it's
it doesn't matter.
close.
It just needs to close a little bit,
Right.
and then we're good to go. Then I'm going to take these, and I'm going to roll them in my egg. Now, this one is being really tricky. There we go.
Oh, those are cute.
I'm going to hit them in the
Yeah, I
egg.
guess you have to be kind of careful with those, right? 'Cause
These
they
are
wanna
very
fall apart on
gentle.
you.
They do. So, egg, flour. There we go. These ones, all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit a little bit of cream in this so it's a little bit deeper. And I'm going to submerge it, and I'm going to go straight from here into the breadcrumb. And the cream will help it bind.
Oh, neat.
So, roll that.
So you're rolling it all the way around in there. Okay,
And then I'm
okay.
going to put a breading on this one. Just like
Oh.
this.
These are awesome.
So this one I'm going to put straight onto the pan, and we're going to bake it the way it is. Okay?
Okay.
These ones here, we're going to cover, and we're going to give them a quick fry.
This is really fun, though. This is a great way. As you said, it's a twist, but you're still getting the same flavor components you would with eggplant parmesan.
That's right. I'm going to put this one back into. This one is being tricky, so I'm going to put it back into the egg, and I'm going to go back into the breadcrumb. So we're
Just to give it a little.
just to give it a little bit more binding power here. There we go.
And what kind of oil are you using in the pan?
That's just a regular canola oil.
Canola oil, okay,
Yeah,
thought so.
yeah. You don't want to use olive oil for this one. It because you're frying something, it
Yes.
will burn on you.
Yes, that's what I
and
thought.
you don't
Okay.
want to have to deal with that.
Right.
So these ones, again, we're just going to keep the caps on them. We're going to give them a little roll into the breadcrumb.
Very neat.
Onto the tray.
These are going to look good too. Like they're going to the little Indian eggplant. They look
With
really
the
cute with the crumble. It's got a really nice look to it.
And if you want, you could put, if you want to change it up a little bit, you could put a little basil leaf sticking out of the top of it.
Sure.
In between the layers.
Oh,
that will give it a neat little look as well. So now we're going to fry these.
And those aren't going to take long at all, right?
No, these are not going to take long.
Okay. Very fun.
So
and then we put the little baby eggplant. We put those into the eggplant, the Indian ones, into the oven for how long?
They're all going to go in for about the same amount of time. So the Indian eggplants are going to be a little bit crunchier than these ones.
Okay.
You're looking at probably about 10 minutes. Okay. It doesn't take too long.
That's pretty good.
Now, again, that's not the traditional way that people make eggplant Parmesan. Normally they salt it and they press it with salt and then go from there.
Okay.
We're bypassing all that. We're just going to go right into the pan, right into the oven, then we're going to heat up some sauce and then we'll continue on with that.
All right, I like that idea. So we'll continue to make some of these, and again, just looking at the options here, it is kind of fun. It's different, it's a twist on it, and it's great for entertaining, as you say, because you can do it as an hors d'oeuvre instead.
You can.
All right.
It's an easy.
Cool, I like that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
When I dream in color. When I think of color, I think of TERRA. Make your dreams come true at TERRA, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home. I'm back with Chef Mark from La Piazza Allegra restaurant in Hamilton, and we've made our little egg parmesans. I love them. They're so different. A twist on this.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a twist. And like I said, these ones you're going to find are going to be a little bit firmer than the other ones because those ones are obviously thinner. They cook a little bit more.
Sure.
But you know, all the elements are going to be there. So what I've done is I've heated up some tomato sauce here. This is the sauce that we used in the restaurant, and that's what you want. You want a nice, good sauce for this. I mean, you can't go
no, because it's definitely one of the features on the plate, right?
It
so
is.
You can't.
You got to have something that's nice and robust too.
It smells so good.
So we'll do this across there, and then we'll take these little eggplants.
Oh, so nice.
We'll do a little cluster there, and then the ones that we put the toothpick in. We could always remove the toothpick now because it will hold.
Okay.
You can see the cheese wanting to come out the side.
How great is that?
There we go.
And one would argue these are probably a little bit lighter than having a full piece of eggplant parmigiana because it's generally, you're getting more of a coating, right? So this is just a light little.
That's right. You're getting definitely a lot less breading on this than you would on other types of Parmesan.
And these are great, as you say, we were mentioning before, for hors d'oeuvres and appetizers and a little bit of sauce on top. Oh, nice.
Sauce on that one.
Reminder as well that you can find these recipes on our website at terragreenhouses.com. A little bit more cheese.
You need a little bit of the Parmesan. This is where you get your Parmesan from, and then we have some nice basil. We'll just plate it up.
Perfect. Nice little Italian dish there, right? even though we're using Indian eggplant on the one side there, right?
That's right.
Very good. Well, thank you. Always great to have you on the show. Looks very nice. Perfect for a nice summer. Maybe you can try them this weekend yourself. That's it for now. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll have more TERRA at Home next Saturday at 11.